Sales, using the right tools to enable you to shine. Sales, who came up with that word? Whoever came up with that word has made a lot of money, because they've made something that we all do in everyday life alien. Some companies have produced training plans to create salespeople and processes, when sales, actually all it is relationship building. So all you're doing is you're meeting people, you're speaking to them in the way that you usually would, rather than in an alien way. And through time, you're building relationships, you're making friends. It's the same sort of thing. A lot of my best clients from the past have become my friends, because I've done a lot of relationship building with them. So today I'm going to go through agenda, your gold list, so creating your gold list, making first contact, the gatekeeper, using automation, out the box ideas, why introverts are the best relationship builders, aka salespeople, and then building a lasting relationship, and tips to remember. So your gold list, I would say, and this is something that James said earlier, he actually recommended building a gold list of top 20. Within recruitment, we tend to build a gold list of top 100 companies that you would like to work with. And what I would do with these companies is, for myself, for example, the sort of organizations I like to work with are small to medium, probably small, 0 to 50 people. They're usually looking to scale in some way, or they've just got some form of investment. They've got a good culture, maybe they're a bit outdoorsy, or you can usually tell within the benefits package what sort of culture a business has got. There'll be Microsoft partner. I used to try to work with Microsoft partners, is my main area. And there'll be a company that is open to someone delivering a full strategy, and someone who can work with them exclusively. They're my dream clients. They're the people I love working with. And obviously you want them to be paying good salaries, not ripping people off, looking after their staff, and good benefits. So they're my ideal clients, and they're the ones that I start building gold list with. So I sort of search the top Microsoft partners in the UK, size 0 to 50. And then this list I edit constantly as I learn about them. So the more I learn about these companies, the more I connect with their staff. I connect with them on Twitter, LinkedIn. I look at their content. I look at all of this. The more I learn about those organizations, the more I start to sieve out if there are companies I really want to work with or not. So this is where I just want to cover quickly, because I covered this in the personal branding session the other day. But 4-pillar marketing, something is when you start thinking about these ideal clients, when you create your content and your marketing, you do it to attract these clients, and you do it to attract the right tribe around you, people that you're going to enjoy working with. So start with what you're confident doing. If you can post videos of yourself online, then go for it. I know for a lot of people it's very nerve-wracking, but videos that will help give value to these types of clients, the types of clients that you want to work with. So think about what they would need. And the good thing about video is you'll put off the people that don't ever want to work with you, but you attract the right ones that are probably going to be a culture fit for you. And then long form stories, so writing content, it could be articles or it could be posts that are going to be relatable to those clients, that is going to be useful tips. And I would say useful tips from your sector. So if you work in recruitment, give them tips in recruitment. Don't start giving them tips in technology, because you're not a technologist, you're a recruiter. So be proud of being a recruiter. Or if you work in a different area, make sure you're giving them tips in what you can actually do for them. A call to action, which is just where you every now and again will put up how much it is, what you're doing, how much it costs, how they can contact you, something that we very rarely do. And then social proof. So this is where when you get good feedback, or you've got that case study, or you do a video with a client, you put that up and you show that then you can walk the talk. So that's your evidence that you can do what you're saying you can do. You can do what you're advertising. And yeah, you talk about how that makes you feel as well, and they'll see what your motivations are. and if they want to work with you. So for that, you need to have a plan in regards to content. And I'll go through this quickly because I went through it the other day, but you want to think about your ideal client. It isn't always niche. So for myself, it's, Microsoft partners, and then it's also the people that want to work for those. So I actually have 2 ideal clients because I need to bring them together. Think about what will help them, how you can add value, create main categories. So let's say for a company that's looking for staff, they want to think about how can they attract them, how can they retain them, how can they improve their benefits process, what's everyone else doing in regards to benefits. There are many different categories that you then can create, and they then lead on to subcategories, which will be the names of your articles, which parts of those areas you can specifically help them with, and thinking about the titles for those articles. And then you've got to remember, don't make it about yourself, don't make it about the likes, don't make it about your ego, make it about them, make it something that's going to help them. And if it helps one person, then it's worth it. So put it out there. And some people, they might not even like it, but they will be watching. I'm quite surprised sometimes by people that message me and say, thank you for your content. They've never liked anything I've ever posted. And to get your ideas flowing, something I'd recommend doing is, some people, they'll just have a notepad and they'll put all these ideas in a notepad every time they think of something. Other people will have the app on their phone, or they'll have notes and they put the ideas down as they go along. And some people, they might use something like post-it notes. And you just write down on post-it notes whenever you have an idea, stick it up on the wall. It means you don't have to do it there and then, but it means you're not going to lose that idea, because ideas do come to you and they flutter away. So as soon as they come, write them down, and then you'll find that you start generating more and more ideas. It becomes more and more natural. You'll be out for a walk and you'll be like, oh, that's a good idea, I haven't thought of that, write it down. And then choose your clients wisely. So here I have a pub background. These are, say, the different clients that you could come across. And something that we're all very guilty of doing is sometimes choosing a client or someone we want to work with for the wrong reasons. So you might choose them because, oh, they've got a lovely brand. Wow, they've got a beautiful website, or they put these amazing videos up. They're so cool. I really want to work with them. They might be well known and you really want to be associated with that brand. But in real life, if you work with companies that you just think are aesthetically pleasing, you might find that your job becomes a bit like this. You might find that you actually hate your life a little bit. Some of these clients, they might just class you as a number, one of many. That you might have nothing in common with them. They might treat you terribly. They might never pay your invoices. You could end up having a very painful relationship with them and actually questioning what you do, which in recruitment is very common, I would say. Sort of you can question, why do I do this? Why am I putting myself through this? You get treated in such a horrible way. That's because you're working with the wrong clients. So what I tend to do is research and prepare. I would like to say I tend to do this. It's something I have to constantly remind myself to do. So research and prepare. Think about what sort of things your client enjoys doing. You can actually get so much information online now. And there was one client in regards to skiing. I'm just going to cover this very quickly. There was a client that I found out that this person liked skiing. And I'm interested in skiing, so we had something relatable. I started phoning them and I would chat to them just about skiing. My first call was saying about recruitment. That didn't go so well. Then I just started asking her about good places to go skiing. We just talked about that. And then we started emailing about it as well. And soon she then turned around and said, hey, Laura, I'd like to give you a chance. Do you fancy working on this role for me? And it was like, yeah, great. So all I did was talk about skiing. And other clients, there's one that's on this course, I just spoke to him about climbing. And then he was like, I like you. I'm going to work with you. Great. So find out what they like doing. Look at the content they post online. Find out if they've been mentioned in the news. You can find a lot of information now off Facebook. I wouldn't recommend connecting with them, but you can get a little gist for the culture of that person that you're looking to work with. You can look on Twitter, the sort of tweets, you can follow them, you can comment on their tweets, they can start to recognize your name. You can look at achievements they might have got, things that they're going to be proud of, things they're going to want to talk about. And then you can look at things like Glassdoor. So look at their culture, how they treat their staff, how quick their turnover is, if they have good benefits, if they're the sort of company you really want to work with. Are they a good company to work with, or do they treat people badly? You can usually tell by the way they treat their own staff if they're going to treat their consultants badly. And the last one's company's house. You can check if they've actually got the money to pay you. Or wherever they're based, you check, how they're doing as a business. And then what you should get from this is that you should start to find a match. You should start to find organizations that you really enjoy working with. And that might be someone then that you can work with, not just now, but a long-lasting, nurtured relationship, that someone you really bounce off and someone you really enjoy working with. And then you'll find that they become friends, I would say. Quite a few people on this course are clients I've worked with over the years, and now we never talk about work. They've become friends over the years because I made sure that they were a culture fit. We had things in common, we bounced ideas off each other, and they were a joy to work with. So actually, the way that I worked out they were the right people was that they became friends in the end, which just says it all, I think. So now I just want to go over making first contact. So here I've got a lady, and she sat at the bar. And this is an idea I came up with at 2 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to see if this works. But I wanted to simplify the process of making first contact. So imagine you're in a bar and there's a woman there or a man and you want to approach them. What do you say when you approach them for the first time? A direct message, but let's imagine you're approaching this lady at the bar. Hi there. Hi, I saw you have rubbish shoes on. I can save you loads of money on your next pair. Come to mine now. I can't wait. I got this message yesterday on LinkedIn. Obviously, it didn't say about my shoes, but it said about my rubbish website and that they can save me thousands of pounds. They've worked with lots of organisations. And then they said, I can't wait to speak to you. They didn't even say my name either. That's the other thing. They didn't even say your name. Hi, my name's Tom. I have a nice car and I've been with some great famous women. And then you start listing the names. Yeah, I've been with this woman, this woman. Would you like to come to my place? That's the equivalent of saying, hi, my name's Tom. I'm really good at what I do. Would you like to work with me? I've been doing this for many years. I've worked with Microsoft. I've worked with Samsung, Nokia. This was the approach that I had to begin with. I didn't say about having lots of experience, but I said, work with Samsung, work with this, that, this. Started listing off all these names. Would you like to work with me? Actually, I've just put them off and I've just talked about myself again. The other one is, hi, my name's Tom. Your top's okay, but I have one which is less shabby. Would you like to come to my place? Now, this is the SEO message that you get on LinkedIn. Someone will contact you on LinkedIn and they'll basically say, your website, could do with a little, it's all right, but it could do with some improvement. Would you like to work with me? And then you have great eyes. Is the equivalent of when someone randomly messages and says, great profile, but they don't say anything else. So this is where you need to translate when you make a first approach with someone. Think about how you'd approach someone in the bar. You'd approach them and you want to gradually start to just say something not too intense, maybe compliment them, maybe think about an achievement, and then you gradually start to grow a relationship over time. Not that you're going to get an answer right there and then. So it's just an introduction. Oh, I've missed one out. Hi, my name's Tom. I'm great in bed. And if you come with me now, you'll get the chance to find out for yourself for the price of half a pint. So let's think of it differently. How you'd really approach someone in a bar. Okay, I'm going to start from worst to better. This is one that I wouldn't say is great, but it does work sometimes. And it's, hi, Emily. I think we've met before. Were you at such and such event? So I know this is a chat up line that some people use, but it could be, hi, I think we met at Future Decoded, or I think we met at Microsoft Aspire, or some sort of event that you think they probably would have been at. And most of the time, I'll only say this if I actually think that I met them, but I'd be like, I recognize your name. Do I know you from somewhere? It doesn't, I wouldn't say it's the best approach. It can be a little bit creepy and weird, but sometimes this does work. A better approach, I would say, is something like, hi, Emily, I can relate a lot to things you've been speaking about recently. Thank you, and keep it going. You're not asking for anything, you're just giving her a compliment and you're admiring what she's been doing. So in the pub context, hi, Emily, my name's Tom. We've bumped into each other a few times at the pubs. Really love your energy. Just want to say, keep it going. It's just short and quick. She might actually talk back to you. Hi, Emily, I just wanted to say from your profile, the work you've been doing is really impressive. It looks like a great company that you lead. The benefits and the ethos reflects an amazing company culture that you've cultivated. And this is something I've sent to people, not because I've wanted to work with them. I haven't ever sent it actually as a sales message. I've sent it because I've seen what they've posted online, and I've genuinely thought, wow, they're doing some great things, and I need to tell them about it. And then sometimes they'll message me back, and it could be that they actually end up becoming a client I work with in the future, which is great. But it just opens that door in a natural way rather than a slightly weird way. And the other one is, hi, Emily, I have to say, your outfit looks awesome, great style. So that was like the informal version of it in a pub. Hi, Emily, just wanted to say the content you've been putting out recently is really resonating with me. Made a big difference. Thank you. And this is something I send to people as well. I look at the content, I think, yeah, that really resonates with me. That's made an impact. Thank you. And let's say you say in a pub, hi, Emily, my name's Tom. Seen you in a couple of pubs recently. I have to say, I'm so impressed by your dancing skills. And you leave it at that. Say your name, say something that you're impressed by. They know who you are. And if you've got, for example, if you're doing this on LinkedIn, if you've got your name tag correct, when you have your name and just below you have the name, like your title, like IT consultant or something like that. For example, mine is I'm helping Microsoft partners to attract the right something, whatever it says. If you have the right title, then you'll find that they already know what you do. You don't need to message them saying, hi, I work in blah, blah, and I can do this for you, etc. You just message them about them, give them a compliment, let them know who you are, and say it'd be great to connect, or you really admire something that they're doing. So already you'll start cultivating a network around you, which are people that you generally want to work with. Final one here, probably put too many here. Hi, Tom. I have an aim to help others via this podcast or networking event. I looked at your journey and career, and I'd really love to have you on as a guest to share your story. So this is one where if you have a podcast or you're running an event or something, it's a natural way to start a conversation with someone. And the way by having them on the podcast is that you can actually start to build and nurture that relationship further. So you start to really get to know them, which is a bonus having a podcast, that you start to build relationships with people that you wouldn't necessarily always be able to speak to. So it's just, sharing the love and making people feel good. And that is what sales really is. It's helping people, making them feel good about themselves, and then finding out how you can make their lives easier. And then generally you'll usually start to make money from that. And they want to use your products and your services. If they don't use your products and services, they'll recommend you to their friends or other businesses. So beware of the ones you say yes to quickly. So it's the same as if you ask someone at a bar and you use one of these chat up lines and they go, yeah, sure, I'll come to your place. That's a sign that actually, how many people do they say yes to? When I've called a company, if they've turned around first time and said, yeah, we'd love to work with you, send us your details and we'll put you on the PSL and we'll start working with you. How many others do they work with? How faithful are they going to be when you're working with them? Can you actually trust them? So you've got to remember that easy isn't always good. Building a relationship takes time, and actually the best relationships I've had with clients have been the ones that have been hardest to get through the door. Then I've got the cold call. This is a similar sort of approach to that one, apart from, it's like, imagine someone answering their phone and you going, hi, my name is Laura. I work within this industry and I would like to work with you. I think I could help you with recruitment. Would you like to work with me? That's like someone saying, hi, my name's Tom. I've got this really nice car. I've worked with I've dated some really nice girls. I've got your number online or whatever. Would you like to meet me? It's too intense in your face. You're not actually adding any value. You're not asking them any questions, and you're not giving them anything. So I'd say an ideal way to make a cold call, which is something that people really hate doing, is think about why you're doing it. You're adding value, and you are just literally introducing yourself to then start to build and nurture relationships. So that first cold call is something where you aim to get one piece of information from them to find out a little bit more about their business, and to just introduce them so they know who you are. So for example, hi, is that Emily? My name's Tom. Oh, I've got a typo there. I hope you don't mind. I got your number from your website. Don't usually call up like this, so I'm sorry if I sound nervous, but I've been hearing about some of the things that you've been doing, and I have to say I'm super inspired by you. So I wanted to offer if there's anything I can do to help. I have a podcast to share your story, or I'll happily make some introductions for you. I can also help share your content in my network if that helps. So you have it, just to let you know this is my mobile number, and just see what they say. Give them help for free, and don't offend them. Don't say they have bad shoes or something, and I can give you some better ones. And this is something that I then started to learn when I was doing those cold calls in that office. I first started by saying, hi, yeah, I work with these really great companies, and would you like to work with me? And actually I had no experience in recruitment. So I then changed tact, and one day I made a call where I turned around to the company and I said, hi, I'm completely new to the area. I don't actually have that much experience, but I looked at your company. I would love to work with you. If ever you fancy working with me, then I'd love to be given the opportunity. But at the moment, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name's Laura. This is my contact number. And, it'd be great if we could catch up in a couple of weeks, and I can find out more about what you're doing with your business. It was something around that where I just would say to them, I'd be honest about the fact I was nervous, which I still do now when I phone a company. I say, oh, did it the other day with the company, and they reacted really well. And I said, look, I'm actually really nervous. I haven't done a cold call for ages. I hate doing cold calls, and I imagine you get many of them from people, and I'm really sorry. But this has just happened. I've changed jobs, and I've been looking at your company. You're an organisation I've always wanted to work with because you've got a great culture, you've got amazing benefits. So I just wanted to introduce myself and see if we can build a relationship going forwards. And this is my, I've worked with these sort of companies before, your sort of organisations before. So hopefully I have a network and I can help you. Maybe I can make some introductions to begin with, offer them something free to begin with, and then maybe then they'll start working with you as a client. So building relationship, you'll see that the biggest part of this triangle that I found on Google is trust at the bottom. And it's actually that's the main part of building relationships. That first part is building the trust. So you're not even selling anything yet. You're just building the trust, building the relationship, getting to know each other. You're communicating, and communicating doesn't mean talking, which is my downfall. I talk too much with 2 ears, 1 mouth, which I have to try and remind myself. Communication is about listening, finding out where you can help them, finding out what they're doing, and then you get to problem solving, which are where you can start thinking solutions for them. One of those solutions could be something where they work with you, which is great. And the other thing is collaborating. Collaboration, so you might then start going to events with them, or inviting them to events, inviting them to talk, introducing them to people within your network. And you generally start working together before there's even money involved. And then there's execution, which means one day you might turn around and say, okay, but doing this, you really could do with a strategy in place, or you really could do with some IT systems. But this is what I do, as you know. Can I help you out with it? Maybe we can sort something out. And then you can actually go in with the sale where you're actually helping them. You're not just from the upside down executing the sale and then trying to build trust at the end. You're starting with trust. Then you have the gatekeeper. So big organizations or slightly larger organizations, well, a lot of companies will have someone on front desk, or whoever answers the phone first of all. And this is where I really struggled. I was thinking, how do I get past the gatekeeper? How do I get past them? you phone up and they tell you no, and they hang up on you, and they tell you they've had 200 other calls that day. So the way that I like to think of a gatekeeper is by thinking of them like the protective older sister. So let's say you're trying to speak to Emily, and you phone up and her protective older sister answers the phone and she says, no, you're not speaking to Emily. I've been called by loads of guys today, and no, I'm sorry, but just go away. Actually, gatekeepers, they're not someone to get past. They're people to be respected. They are people you want to build a relationship with. So the gatekeeper, you're not going to get a sale from them first time round. But what you are going to be able to do is you're going to be able to get information from them. So if you just get one piece of information, that's a win. So don't ever see it as a failure. If you get one piece of information, then you're gradually moving forwards. So get that one piece of information from them, and try and build a relationship with them. They will then introduce, well, they won't then, but they might introduce you to the organisation. A lot of the time, the gatekeeper is actually sometimes the husband of the CEO or the wife of the CEO. So treat the gatekeeper with respect, build a relationship with them, keep trying with the gatekeeper. And worst case scenario, if you can't get through the gatekeeper, something I did with a company called the Learning Clinic actually, was that I spoke to the gatekeeper. She said, oh, we're opening an office here, but we don't work with recruiters, sorry. So I was like, okay. Then I messaged the CFO on LinkedIn. And I said, I just spoke to the gatekeeper, Michelle. And I didn't say the gatekeeper, I said, I just spoke to Michelle. And she said, you're opening an office in Exeter, and I'm based in Exeter, so it'd be great to help you. And then he was like, yeah, great, come in and work with us. And I ended up becoming their exclusive recruiter for the Southwest. Absolutely loved working with them, recruiting all of their offices there. And I remember meeting the gatekeeper at an event, and I don't know if she recognised me or not from that call, but from that piece of information, I managed then to go in through the best friend, I would say. The other one is using automation. So automation is really, really useful. We saw Sean's session the other day about the stuff you can do with CRM marketing. And there are also things like LinkedIn Helper. You can send messages to people automatically. You can pre-write them. You can connect with people automatically. And then same with emails. You can do all, first contact, second contact, third contact. So automation is great. But what I would say is, for me personally, less is more. For me, I tend to find that if I personalize the message and really do my research, I've got a much higher chance for success rate with that company or that person. As well as if automation goes wrong, puts the wrong name, or it responds to them with something completely irrelevant, then you're going to potentially lose that person forever. I know I get automated messages from people that I really respect, people that I follow. I aren't open them a lot of the time because I know they're automated messages, so I don't always open them. Where automated messages would work, I would say, were what we were talking about earlier with Hugh, and when we were speaking to Hashanti about events. When you have an event and you get a lot of emails from that event, like 200, having that online automation, that email marketing campaign in place is really useful, because then you can email out to those 200 people and you can keep them on board and start building that relationship. But I'd just say be careful, because it can go wrong. So make sure you write those messages very well. And then out the box, relationship building ideas. So add value. It's all about adding values. Things like podcasts, invite them in, enable them to speak and shine. This podcast is very much about pumping up their tires and creating a story that makes them the hero of the story. So enable them to shine, and it's about them and their products. But you will be building those relationships with them. Networking events, attending them, creating them. This networking event, well, it wasn't a networking event. It was just something I wanted to do to add contribution. But this whole week has been amazing for networking and meeting people. And we're going to help each other, and we're going to introduce each other. And that's how I want to work. And then branding. So what I said earlier about branding, to bring in those inbound inquiries where companies will start contacting you because you're the sort of person they really want to work with. Furlough is one, just a little tip for you. Hashtag furlough. It's only got 238 followers on LinkedIn. All those people who are talking about furlough and who are currently furloughed at the moment, if you go on LinkedIn, you can search a hashtag and you can follow a hashtag. So you go in the search bar, hashtag furloughed or hashtag furlough, and then you can click follow, and you'll always get posts from people that are talking about furlough. So right now, there's hardly any followers for that. And there are many people who are furloughed. And those people are sat at home feeling, a certain way, not feeling great about themselves, but they are people who are probably more open to speaking now than they ever will be. So right now is a time to be building relationships with those people. So if you do your search of your ideal client, but then put furlough or furloughed, you might find people who are currently not working, their work's been put on hold, and you can contact them and you can start building a relationship with them for when this all turns around in the future. And worst case, like I say, if they don't buy off you, then they'll introduce you to people who will. And job advertise, this is another one that is quite good to bear in mind. When you see a company advertising a permanent role, for example, the example I gave the other day was a wellbeing lead, you'll find out that actually they're interested in wellbeing and they currently have a need for that skill. So it might be the time to contact that company and say, okay, hi, I'm a wellbeing lead, and make the normal introduction, but they'll see what you do and they might be interested in, let's say you run a free consultancy session or you do a free webinar with their teams to help them out. That might be then an in to actually, they'll think, okay, we're not going to do this as a permanent job. We'll bring in Louise to do wellbeing strategies for us because we'd rather bring someone in externally. And this is something that's happened for me recently with a company. They're speaking with me about doing something on an external basis rather than bringing in a team of 4 or 5, which is what they were going to do. And then approach for an article. Another idea, you could approach someone, you could say, hi, I'm writing, I've got a book, or I'm taking part in this article. Would you like to help me? Would you like to collaborate with me? It's similar to a podcast, but it's different type. People love contributing, adding value, and they love having a chance to shine in what they do. So podcast, articles, writing, asking people to come in and speak, like this event. Are chances to build relationships with people that might potentially become future clients. And then following on LinkedIn. So you can't always connect people on LinkedIn. They might be a third, for example, or they might not want to connect with you because they don't know you. But what you can do is you can follow them on LinkedIn. You can start commenting on the content that you're generally interested in. So I don't want this to be fake in any way, but find the content they're putting out there that you're interested in. You can comment on there, and don't say, oh, hi, yeah, I do this, and you might be interested in working with me. I saw you talking about it. Instead, you can be like, hi, this is a great article. And if your tagline on LinkedIn is correct, so if you've got what it is that you can do for people rather than what your job title is, then, and check my LinkedIn if you want to see what I'm talking about. It's Laura Tejada on LinkedIn. Then they'll see on the comment, they'll already see below your name what it is that you do. So you don't need to mention that. But what you should be doing is just, supporting them and getting to know them. And by doing that, you're giving them a compliment. So on the LinkedIn, giving them a compliment, and they'll gradually get to know your name, and then you can connect with them. Hopefully connect with them. When you do go to connect with them, they'll be like, oh, that's Laura. She always comments on my stuff. Oh, she's lovely. Hopefully, or they'll think she's creepy, but hopefully you think she's lovely. And then relationship building, remembering it's all about helping others and finding what you can do to help that person. And that really is what sales is. It's finding out what you can do to help them, which generally is something that obviously you end up selling in the future, but it's a much nicer way of building that relationship and nurturing that relationship. And so that's my picture of nurturing the plant there. So give it away for free. This is a slide I shared the other day, so I'm going to go through it quickly. But things like webinars or consultancy sessions where you give it away for free. You could then do an upsell at the end, like if you want to work with me, then I'm also offering this for this price. Or you could just do it for free, and they might then get to know you, and they'll start sharing your YouTube videos, for example. or they'll start recommending their friends, or you have to do a webinar with Laura, or they recommend to other companies. I did a free consultancy session with Laura, it was really useful. And hopefully then they might turn around and say, yeah, we'd like you to come and do this piece of work for us. And helping your ideal clients have the information to do it for themselves. So I actually delivered a full recruitment strategy to a company the other day with the belief that if I deliver that, they might just take it and go away with it. That's fine. Like, I'm happy that they do that. But the bonus is, and they turn around and they were like, well, actually, we would like you to do it. I was like, really? Oh my God, that's amazing. Which wouldn't have happened if not. So, and then separating the spenders from the time wasters. So you're, by giving it away for free, you're going to find out the ones that really would have spent money with you over the ones that were potentially going to invite you in for various meetings, get information from you, and never spend anyway. So just give the first bit, or give them what they need away for free, and then if they want you to roll that out for them, they'll ask you for it. But it's one way to separate the spenders from the time wasters, is just doing that in the first place. And then working with companies who trust you and recommend you. So by doing that, you're working with companies, they're already getting to know how you work, and they're already building respect for you. And you both start to build that mutual respect for each other, and it's just a nice way to work. And introverts are the best relationship builders. Now, introverts never tend to do a lot of sales. It's a very nerve-wracking subject for people that are more introverted. And what's ironic is that introverters are actually the best salespeople, or the best relationship builders. They'll make it all about that person. They'll be really good at listening. They'll know their stuff before they contact them, because they usually put a lot of pressure on themselves to really know what they're doing. They'll be well prepared before they even make that call or that contact. They'll know how to add value to that company because they've done all their research. They'll be genuine because they won't be comfortable, and they're not always the best actors, so they'll be themselves. And they'll come across with a consultative approach. So I recommend, if you're an introvert, actually, don't think you're not good at sales. You're actually a natural at sales. The extrovert, and I've used Tiger King here. Obviously, he's an extrovert. I know. I'm sorry about that, Ivor. You can put your hand over it if you want. But the extroverts, sometimes, I'm quite extroverted. So sell now, learn later. Like I did when I was younger. I can do that windsurfing job, work it out afterwards in the library. Sell now, learn later. Sometimes overconfident. Sometimes the sales pitch will be too smooth. You can tell they've done it with so many people, and they will assume your needs. They could offend you. They might not come in prepared to the meeting. They might get the name wrong. You work for. I'm trying to say an example now. So you work for Microsoft. And they haven't done their research of how to actually say the name of the company or the name of the person. Hi, they don't even say the name because they don't know who you are. And they could potentially offend, and they'll talk constantly about themselves, how great they are, and won't always ask questions. So it's great to be a mixture in the middle is the perfect thing. But if you're introvert, most introverts I find don't do sales, but actually you're the best salespeople because you're consultative. So remember, choose your clients wisely. You don't want to be hating the people that you work with or hating what you do. Preparation beforehand, and easy is not always a good sign. Don't know how many others they'll be working with. Look after the protective sister. This is a gatekeeper. Aim for the one piece of information. So if you get one piece of information, you've succeeded. That's what you want in every single piece of information. I mean, knowledge is power. And with that knowledge, you can really find a way to actually help them. Nurture the relationship, add value, and help them. Make it personal. Be careful about automation. Personal branding and content plan to get people contacting you, which is wonderful. And be in it for the long game. Some people, I was speaking to Anthony King the other day, some of his relationships take 2 to 4 years. Obviously, they're then really, they really pay off, but they take years to nurture. And then it's all about them. Listen and support them. So that's it. That's my little twist on sales, and I hope that's Useful. Any questions from anyone?